However, we had different perspectives on Michael Moore's ideology. I did not agree with the ideology presented in the film. Michael Moore stated that capitalism is evil and it ruined the lives of many individuals. However, I believe that the system of capitalism is fine. It was how the people took advantage of capitalism that caused so many problems in society. We are supposed to play by the rules, but there are always people that try to find loopholes or even break the rules to benefit. Some examples that Michael Moore stated in his movie, such as the case with the judges and the juvenile delinquents, are invalid because the subject violated the law while trying to take advantage of capitalism. People evicted from their household. They made a bad economic decision, therefore they should suffer the consequences. I don't see anything wrong with that, even though I do feel bad for those people. Michael Moore uses emotional examples to persuade us into agreeing with him, making us think emotionally rather than rationally. This movie is not a documentary, it's more of a propaganda. More specifically on the case of bailout for banks, this action does not follow the principles of capitalism. Adam Smith's theory of the invisible hand states that we will contribute to the common good just by pursuing our self-interest. We can get our country back on track just by doing what we do best, pursue our self-interest. Governments aren't supposed to support any private industries if they're not doing well. If they cannot profit or sustain in the free market, they should be eliminated. The action of bailing out a bankrupt banks contradicts the basis of capitalism.
Although, like Andy said, there were a few case studies that may have been exaggerated to bring out an emotional response rather than a rational response towards capitalism, I still agree with Moore's ideology that a democratic socialist society would benefit America's economy and society. I think Moore made some really good points on how capitalism has affected America negatively. Yes, I agree that people that are taking advantage of capitalism are the cause of the problems, but with no limitations on the economy, it gives those capitalists the freedom to find loopholes and take advantage of innocent citizens. Therefore, there should be regulations and restrictions placed on the economy to limit tragedies such as dead peasant insurance policies, the juvenile delinquents case, etc., from repeating. Restrictions are an example of how government intervention can benefit society. However, the bank bailout is one situation that shouldn't have had any government intervention at all. From Andy's previous argument, I agree that the bank bailout was not an act of pure capitalism, as one of the main principles is every man for themselves. If they fail, you let them fail. The banks are being hypocrites by asking for the government's help. It's one of the main principles of laissez-faire, having a free price system where supply and demand are allowed to reach their point of equilibrium by intervention without intervention of government. The invisible hand is pursuing your self-interest and helping others in the process. Yes, the banks have achieved their self-interest by taking the $7 billion from innocent taxpayers. But what about everyone else in America? What do they get?
This is too much money in too short a time going to too few people while too many questions remain unanswered. Is this the United States Congress or the Board of Directors of Goldman Sachs?
Even though the bailout was not purely based on capitalism, however, it was an act in the name of self-interest. They are bankrupt because they made bad loans decisions. They were the ones pushing the government away and wanting no intervention at all. If that's the economy they want, they should not suddenly ask for America's hard-working citizens' money to fix their own mistakes. As economist John Maynard Keynes said, there is no harm in being sometimes wrong, especially if one is promptly found out. Yes, it is the bank's decision where they want to spend their money, but the people as taxpayers deserve the right to know where their money is being spent on.
Where's our money?
I don't know.
I can see where it's coming from, Yiran, but I still truly think that the cases that Michael Moore presents are weak in logic. He seems to bring together all the tragic things that are happening in America and blaming it on capitalism and saying it's pure evil. Capitalism can benefit our society. For example, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates modernized our modern technology, and they were capitalists. If we think critically, we are able to see countless flaws in his arguments.
I am not agreeing with Moore that capitalism is evil. It's just how people are taking advantage of the no government intervention that's wrong, resulting in some people having everything and the rest have nothing.
Be some kind of a rebellion between the people that have nothing and the people that's got it all.
Like Keynes suggested, in order to avoid this destructive and unpredictable roller coaster ride of the unregulated market system during which ordinary people lost their jobs, savings, and homes, restrictions needs to be made. The governments should only be responsible for these restrictions and not bailing out banks that cannot fix their own mistakes.